Hey everybody, it's Charles with Fern Dynamics coming to you for subject matter number 2, part 1 through probably 3. It's a very big subject that we're going to kind of touch on right now. And that is, what is in the market? Where did the trailers come from? Who's making them? And what does that mean for you? So we are members of NATM, which is the National Association of Trailer Manufacturers. Because we're members, we know that at any given time in the U.S., there's roughly 800 plus manufacturers. Now, every one of those manufacturers do not make concession trailers or mobile kitchens. It's actually a very small segment, maybe on the magnitude of about 15 to 20% of those 800. That number changes every single year based on the economy, based on what's happening. So it really doesn't matter the number of them. What matters is how they're actually constructed, what they're trying to produce, and how they're being used, okay? So a good example is when we first started, our only purpose was to build a mobile kitchen, right? So we began with the end in mind, right? When we started to design the chassis and the frame, all we were thinking about was what its end use is. So the chassis is different, the walls and ceiling are different, everything about it is different from a standard cargo trailer. Cargo trailer manufacturers are simply building empty shells mainly, so they have a standard production line, and they're building a trailer where the weight goes on the floor. The walls, the ceiling is simply to hide that material and to keep it dry. It has no structural value or purpose. So it's a completely different build. One of the things we used to say to our potential customers was that we build from the ground up. And it sounds good and it makes sense to an extent, but the realization is that, hey, well, really all trailers are built from the ground up. What really matters is what was their intended purpose and how are they designing that chassis and frame for what ultimately becomes its end use. So let's kind of look at who's, I guess, the main players within this industry. You have all the cargo trailer guys, right, that have a standard production line. And I'm going to kind of write that down because I think it's important for you to kind of see how this starts to break out. So they'll have a production line, and I'll just simply do it as PL. Then they will have what they call an options line. So this throughput through here, they may be producing literally 15 or 20 trailers a day. Now, if someone calls them and says, hey, you know, I would like to have a concession window put in the side. I don't want barn doors. I want a regular door and a concession trailer. They build part of the frame and then it goes to the options line where they'll install the window and a different type of door. And that's kind of important for you to understand that, is that it has a couple of different purposes. However, it doesn't have a specific design that matches that end use. So it's very important to think about. Now, you can purchase a unit direct from a manufacturer to the customer, which is what we are. We manufacture just mobile kitchens and that's it. Everything about our units is singularly specific for its end use. You have other manufacturers that build maybe a type of mobile kitchen and something else, and their frame might be a little bit better than a cargo trailer, but it still doesn't have all the components that ours has for the integration of the electrical systems and gas systems, but it's manufactured to customer as well. Then you've got your standard manufacturers like up here that sell to dealers that then sell to an upfitter that then goes to the customer, okay? And then you'll have some manufacturers that will sell both to or directly to a upfitter that'll go to the customer. So that should be kind of an outline of what's out there. You can buy directly from a manufacturer, either singularly purpose-built, a manufacturer that may do a few things and some mobile kitchens that's an upgrade of your standard cargo trailer. But the vast majority, I would say probably 90% of the market out there is manufacturer that does all kinds of trailers that sell to a dealer or dealer network and upfitter. In this scenario right here, you're going to get what's called an MCO, or Manufacturer Certificate of Origin. And that's very important because that lists you as the first owner. Okay? These guys are going to give you a title, which is giving you the second position. Now, when you think about that, what that truly means is if you have an issue here with your frame or the physical trailer itself, you're simply calling us or them, right? You have a direct connection. Something happens here and you contact the upfitter, guess what? Well, we didn't make the trailer. You've got to call the manufacturer, or you've got to call the dealer, or the dealer calls the manufacturer. So here comes layer number 2, potentially layer number 3. They don't have ownership, the manufacturer does, but guess what? If you find out who manufactured it and you call the manufacturer, you're not their customer. So they don't owe you a warranty, do they? So it's really kind of a unique position that you can find yourself in. This is what you're looking for. You're looking for an MCO. You want to be the first owner and deal directly with the manufacturer and make sure that you are getting something that is made specifically to be a mobile kitchen and not just some secondary, tertiary use of a cargo trailer that just has a window cut out of it, right? So they're totally not the same. So manufacturer, direct to the customer, MCO is important. You're in the first position. So now I'll kind of erase this. We'll start segment number 2 and focus on another aspect.